Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome into another installment of ISV Success Live. It's an honor and pleasure to have EJ from Bluefort with me today. And before we get started and introductions with EJ, let me kind of orient everyone who's never been on these calls before, the purpose of it and how do you engage. And so we do these every Monday at 8 o'clock West Coast time because we really want to highlight and showcase the amazing Dynamics 365 partner ecosystems, particularly ISVs that we have that have amazing IP that enhance our Dynamics platform. And so it gives an opportunity for me to host a leader from one of those organizations. And we have a conversation for about 30 minutes just to give everyone awareness to the amazing business outcomes they drive with Microsoft, particularly with Dynamics. Throughout the conversation, as you can see in the little ticker below, we'd love to hear where you're watching from. So if you want to type in the window, maybe you're doing it from the East Coast where EJ is, I'm on the West Coast or in Europe, or if you're in Asia, wherever it is, we'd love to hear where you're watching from, not just if you're watching live, but if also you end up watching the replay. Again, we'd love to hear where you're watching from. The second is that if you actually have a question that you want me to pose to EJ in real time, feel free to put that in the LinkedIn comments. And like you would if you were saying where you're watching from, gives me an opportunity, if we have time at the end, to ask a live question to EJ. And then finally, as you're listening to the conversation, if the information is resonating with you, we'd love to have you utilize one of the LinkedIn icons, whether support, like, etc., because that also gives EJ and I awareness that the content is resonating for the people watching. So without further ado, EJ, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for making time on a Monday to speak with me. As we always do, why don't you share a little bit about your background, what's your specific role at Bluefort? And then my favorite icebreaker question when I have new people come to the show is, what is one thing not on your LinkedIn profile that you're open to sharing? So welcome, EJ.
Okay, well, thank you, Brian. I'm happy to be here. And a little bit about my background is I've been in Dynamics and in all phases of it for, I guess, about 15 years now, and international software since '89. So pretty versed on it. But I guess what attracted me to Dynamics was that it was very partner friendly, just like you said, Brian. And I've stayed here ever since. So I've done the third-party add-ons. I've worked with groups like I helped bring NMB, for those of you out there, into the marketplace. I worked with Selenia, which was a Danish development company that helped back in the DamGuard days and the Vision, and which Bluefort actually did too. Some of these guys, and so I've done basically all the aspects of it, and my specialty is really helping ISVs come into the marketplace, and then figuring out, okay, well, which is the best point of entry, and where do you grow it from there? So I work with, and we'll get into that, I guess, later, but on the call to action. But is it direct to customers? Is it through partners? Is it through Microsoft consultants? All of the above. And so I've done that for many companies over the past 15 years. And Bluefort, I've been working with them this year in doing that, and I'm excited about it. So I'm in Atlanta. I'm a Knoll, a Florida State guy, and I think that's a good overview, I think.
Yeah, that's great, EJ. And maybe you can comment on what's one thing not on your LinkedIn profile. You mentioned to me in the pre-show, but if that's what you want to use, or if you want to use something different.
No, that's fine. I had 10 things, but I narrowed it down to I have a creative side, and that creativity I've used throughout my career, but it stems from being a guitarist to an artist. To a builder. I had a rug manufacturing business where I designed high-end New Zealand wool custom rugs, but incorporate all of that into trade shows and marketing literature and just all aspects of it. So I'm an artist.
I love it. Yeah, thanks, EJ. And then you mentioned you're a Knowles fan, and so I'm sure you're a big college football. I am as well. And so they're doing so well in the top four, potentially on the path to the playoffs. I'm a big Oregon fan, so we're just right behind you, and hopefully we'll be able to see each other back in the college football playoff race.
You got to come to Georgia, because my nephew actually played for Georgia on their first of what could be 3 championships in a row. So
yeah. Well, hopefully someone will dethrone them. Maybe some other team this year. So thank you so much. And I want to do a quick shout out for a few people who have tuned in to comment that they are watching live. So Cameron, thank you so much for watching from the East Coast in New Jersey. We truly appreciate it. And then Sarah, thank you so much for tuning in from Malta. So I love it, and I appreciate your support through the process, and also the video that you sent that we could utilize in the session today. So why don't we get started, EJ? So why don't you provide just a little color commentary as to what's the business outcomes that we drive together, and the business problems you solve? Because I know for those of you who have been exposed to Bluefort, you'll hear subscriptions, but let's go a little bit more detail. And for the people who saw the quick 30-second intro, it gave you a teaser, but maybe you can go a little bit deeper.
Well, I can say what's fascinating and very interesting about them is they're based in Malta, but they're all over the world. But the collective development effort and everybody involved in it, I think we came out to 1,000 years or something, because these guys all came from other development groups, ISVs, VARs, resellers that sold DamnGuard, Exapta, Dynamics, all the above. And what they latched onto is, they know it so well that, how do you take that collective experience and really benefit the whole Dynamics marketplace? And they latched on to subscription, because the subscription billing world for products and services is exploding. It's projected, in billions by Gartner and all the consulting groups. And most companies that are already there are reaping the benefits of it, but there's a lot of industries that are still, new to it. And they saw that with their development skills and their understanding of Dynamics platform and being involved in the PEEP program and all that connections, all their Microsoft connections, that they could really help Dynamics, not only for people that are in subscription, but also in helping partners and Microsoft themselves to go into industries where Dynamics really hasn't been, a mainstay yet. And so they've done that. And that's what the solution is based on, it's built on. And there's different modules to it, but the core is Dynamics F&O. And then from there, depending on the type of customer or needs, it moves out to the CRM, the CE system. There's customer portals, and then a big area we can talk about people who are using this, like Avanade, is the project side of it. So handling of projects and working with Dynamics in that aspect. So it's pretty comprehensive end to end. But there's a lot of working parts to it that are pretty exciting. I know we'll get to the partner component and how we're using it. But the business model is that we're taking this to North America with the partner channel. So we're not selling to directly to customers. So educating all of the partners, Microsoft, the GBB, the TSPs, all the guys that are engaged in projects, and these are typically larger projects that are handling millions of transactions and all of the variations that go into that. And that may be a separate question you want to talk about, but when we talk about subscription, I don't know that everybody truly understands what that means yet, other than your annoying cable bill, right? But there's a lot of variations to it that drive accounting and sales and operations crazy. But that's what Bluefort does, is it takes away all those customizations and needs. So.
Yeah, I appreciate that overview, EJ, because this is such an important area, because we do live in a subscription economy. Because everything almost you buy now is a subscription. And sometimes you realize, oh my gosh, I had something where I'm paying for it and I didn't even realize I was paying for it. But
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
no, that's a great point. Is, you don't know what you're paying for, and the company doesn't know exactly what you're paying for either, without a lot of manual processes. And so if it's a model that's per unit, pay as you go, one-time fees, tiered plans, asset-based entitlements, project-based, managed services, prepaid. I mean, it goes on and on and on. But they automate all that. So that's where their strength lies. And most importantly, I think from when you and I started, and a lot of other people, the projects used to be, half at signing and half on when you finish, right?
That's right.
And the whole industry changed, overnight. So now you've got, if I'm a partner, I mean, the customers should be happy, right? Because they don't have all that upfront, say, costs and things. But you also want to share with them all of the upgrades, cross-sell, upsell, things like that. They're small ticket, but on a large company, that's a lot of revenue, and there's a lot of benefit to the clients. But making that easy so that you can sell to, present it to the clients, that's the challenging part. So in regards to where they go with it, we'll talk about that. But right now, I think as an education process, and that's what we're doing a pretty good job of, I think, is educating and evangelizing subscriptions to the industry itself. So our job is twofold: is to educate them, educate the marketplace on what subscription is and how it could impact, and how does a company even migrate to a subscription billing model, and what's it going to look like, and how do we make money at it, right?
Yeah.
And what are the benefits? So
yeah, no, thanks, CJ, for going a little more detail. And yeah, the complications that pose anyone who runs a subscription, you mentioned a lot of it, and not just the different scenarios that can come into play, but how do you handle the payment terms? How do you handle the entitlements? I love how you cover that. And I love that the fact that there's an ISV like Bluefort that is thinking about, not just thinking about it, but actually helping organizations and companies help to drive better outcomes through managing all those complexities. So that's a good segue. You mentioned a little bit about the history of Bluefort, but maybe you talk about the experience of being a partner ecosystem. You touched on it, but maybe you could get a little more detail on just as you've gone through and you see the iterations, because of course, when we get to the call to action and people type in Bluefort in AppSource, you're going to notice that there are many different solutions and capabilities that Bluefort provides. So maybe you can touch upon what's the partner ecosystem experience been like for Bluefort.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, there is. It's 197, I think, is what I found on G2. But in regards to the ecosystem, I mean, I would love to talk about that from now till Friday, because it's had such a big impact on my life. But it is an ecosystem of customers, users, partners, Microsoft people all around the globe, and understanding how that works and how to get benefit out of it for yourself, for the company, for Microsoft, for all of that. That's what's made a big impact on how I do things, which is about networking. So I can lift a couple of nice compliments I've gotten from the Microsoft people, that I know more Microsoft people than Microsoft, and master networker. But the reason for that is because we actually are a network of connecting to people and going to conferences and interacting with different solutions, because it's about, what I was attracted to about this is, there's the old school thought of, you get an ERP and they will handle everything, and there's a place for that, I guess. But Microsoft took the approach that we'll build the engine, but we'll make it attractive for those people that know industry specific solutions and functions and features and departmental, and then how to connect to other platforms that don't want to change. And so the ecosystem, that's what when I came over, my plan was to see whether or not this was to go to the customers, through partners, through consultants, through professional services organizations, and MSPs, and Microsoft directly. And that's the brush of the Microsoft ecosystem that I work in. And discovered that that this best fits with those guys, with the resellers, with the consulting organizations, with Microsoft directly, Microsoft Consulting Services, the GBB, all of these guys. And my experience has been they've welcomed it with open arms, because we really do, well, I know I do. I have a pretty good understanding of how to work with partners and how to find solution sets that work together, and make it easier for the customer to embrace that and bring it into the business. So what we've done, and I can say right now, in response to the ecosystem topic, is that we've got multiple partners. Seer is one, and we won't be able to go into all the details of how we use these, but Seer is a partner, and we use their automated what do you call it, implementation guide online for the segments that apply to subscription, which makes it easy for the customer to fill in the questions and see if, well, standard subscription that comes with D365 is fine for us, or here's 80 other functions and features we hadn't even thought about. And that's what I've learned in working with partners right over the past few months, is these are things that people haven't really thought about in their project plan and in the with the solution architect, because they didn't know it was out there. Today we have a press release going out with a company called Team Central, and Team Central comes from our club, right? Our Microsoft Community Club, Centric Consulting. Out of that, developed a platform as a service solution, Team Central, and they'll be working with us to connect D365 and subscription management to other platforms to make it beneficial to them. We've got a partner that we've incorporated with for Data Hub, is now part of, well, that's our name, Data Hub for data warehousing. And when we talk about AI, I can talk more about that. And then Q Associates, which has been in the Dynamics world for 31 years, they've come on board as a distributor for us, and local support, and are just, I couldn't ask for a better group of clients, partners working together on this. And I think that the next 12 months, it's going to explode as we expand to all the different guys in tiered groups, the Avanads of the world. And Avanad is actual customer. That was the part I wanted to share with you, is that it's an interesting product, because the VARs, the ISVs, the consulting groups, they're all on subscription. So they're a customer as much as they could be an influencer or a problem solver for their customers. And I can't say I've ever been in this situation. So it's a really exciting scenario. So when I'll throw out names like Avanade and Two Increase, Columbus, these are all customers, as well as promoting. So.
Yeah, and thanks, EJ. Yeah, you're alluding to my next question when we talk about examples. And I love, as you were talking about the ecosystem, just the partner-to-partner engagements you're driving. And of course, that you mentioned that Bluefort for this specific scenario is really driven through selling through partners. And the fact that you are leveraging organizations like CR365. We actually had Richard from CR365 in a episode maybe 3 or 4 episodes ago. And it's great, because when you have partners working together, particularly not just partners, ISVs with SIs, but ISVs with ISVs, because there are use case scenarios that exist. And that's one of the big values of being in the broader Microsoft partner ecosystem compared to other ecosystems, is the fact that we do a lot. And we have and to your point, a very big ecosystem, not just within Dynamics, But when you think about the broader ecosystem, when it comes to all the workloads in the Microsoft cloud that we support, it really provides a advantage for ISVs like yourself to really network, and not just with Dynamics, but create that broad network. And I love your comment too. I should probably look at your LinkedIn profile and see how many Microsoft people are connected to, because I'm sure it's a lot. And that's the
About
other
two.
big component. So
It's somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000.
yeah,
And
that's great.
I would say that on my post, 20% are always Microsoft people. So hi guys,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know, because I love it. I love the technology, and of course with all the AI stuff. But we're always, we're always helping each other to bring that to the marketplace with all the groups, like what you're doing, but with like I'm involved. I was president of the IMACP in Atlanta, and
Hmm.
started the WIT chapter here, the Women in Technology, a few years ago, and heavily involved in dynamic communities, and just spoke at the Doug event. So it's this big network. But you mentioned one thing I forgot to talk about in the partner, the tentacles that go out right from Dynamics itself, through subscription. There's also the payment processing platforms, and
Oh
those
yeah.
are partners like Go Cardless and Stripe, and those are ones that we're already connected to and working with. So we're collaborating with all of them, and that's a whole. When you talk about the partner, selling Dynamics, or Microsoft selling Dynamics, those are key things in getting into the banking industry, or getting into, whether it's SaaS companies, services companies, telecommunications, which is an area that I know that our partners we're all excited about too, because subscription handling takes Dynamics into that space.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, the partner piece is a big, and finding the right partners, to be honest,
Yeah.
right? I mean, everybody has to come with something, they have to bring a dish to the table, and I think I'm pretty good at doing that. So,
Good.
and playing everybody's role. So
Yeah. I love your analogy because it's very apropos to upcoming Thanksgiving, where if you're hosting people at your home, you definitely just want to show up, but it has a mutual benefit that I love your analogy of dish to the table. So before we get into the next question, you seeded some of it. Let me do a quick shout out because a few other people who denoted they're tuning in. So Colin, thank you so much for watching from London. I truly appreciate it. And then John dialed in. Of course, we both know John super well. I appreciate you, John, dialing in from Cincinnati. So with about 7 minutes we have left, EJ, maybe you can touch upon, go in a little bit more detail. You mentioned, again, some of the customers, of course, many of these are Microsoft partners today. Maybe you can talk about those use cases, because when you think about revenue, RevOps, and how you think of subscriptions and all that stuff, maybe you can highlight in more detail a few of the examples of where Bluefort is actively driving benefit and outcomes with these end customers.
sure, and I will say too, something that's really really cool about the company is their learning portal, which is filled with more case studies. I'll talk about a couple here, but also about the industry, just like I was saying, to educate your bosses, to educate the departments on what this is, your product manager, if you're a user, to bring this to them and say, look, we can have, not only can we handle, like Ibexa, which is a customer of ours, right, handle their billing automation and execution end to end, but we can actually feed information back to the CRM system to create what we call smart opportunities. And that's what they're doing. So they're using it for all of their billing, process automation, because there's a lot that goes into taking care of the accounting when it comes to deferred payments, to discounts, returns. But one of the partners here, or customers, Econoline, they actually use this stack end to end, and that means that not only are they handling the financial aspects of and engaging with the payment automation systems for the accounting standpoint, but there's the CRM component. So that analytical data, when you start talking about AI, right, is using it's since it's built on Dynamics and Power Apps and things like that, they can be feeding information on buyer behavior, what's working, what's not working, on cross-sell, upsell opportunities back to CRM, which of course helps with an ROI in CRM. Everybody's always looking for a greater ROI on a CRM. Those of us in sales, love CRMs, right? But it's even better if it tells me about great opportunities that I can help the customer, make them happy, but also increase revenue for the company. And so Econoline is using it from end to end for the process automation to the CRM, to the CE, and they also use the portal. So there's a portal that allows the customers to manage their own subscriptions. So and these are parts that, depending on the company, which ones are important to them. But those are two pretty good examples. So one that just uses it for the accounting standpoint, and one that uses it with accounting operations and CRM and CE. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I love it, EJ. And those two examples from an end-to-end experience on how they're leveraging it, how they're driving it, especially that example where you talk about the front office and the back office, and then maybe not the in-between, but the fact that people can self-serve via portal and do things to manage the subscription so they don't have to pick up a phone and do all those things. They can do it on self-serve. So with 3 minutes we have left, this is a good segue into how do people learn more? Of course, you talked about how Bluefort's go-to-market is really through the partner channel. And so you think about the different people that typically listen to these. Of course, a lot of Microsoft people, just because of the nature of how visible what I do and what my team does. Maybe you talk about just the use case scenarios of how do people learn more? If I'm a Microsoft employee and I come across this, what do I do? If I'm a partner and I go, oh, this is super interesting, maybe I want to become a reseller or work with you, what do I do? And then the customer, you mentioned 2 customer examples. If someone listens to this going, oh my gosh, I have a subscription, I need to optimize my revenue coming through this, and there's probably a better way. Maybe you could quickly touch upon the ways that people can engage.
Yeah, well, I'll start with, like I laid out the different paths to of bringing Dynamics to the marketplace. I'll start with Microsoft because I'm reaching out to all of my contacts. Obviously, you guys can help me by setting up times where we can actually talk and present. But we're engaged with projects with Microsoft where they learned about it through the grapevine, so to speak. And what are we doing? So we're actually helping. Our design is to co-sell with the partner or with Microsoft directly. If the partner wants to become a partner and they want to be trained to do the implementation or handle all the support and stuff, they're welcome to do that. We're a software company. So we're engaged with MS that way. I'm on a campaign to educate the GBB guys, the technical specialists. So that's a two-way street. If anybody's out there that can help me to do that on an enterprise level, that would be great. If you're a partner, reach out to us and we'll be happy to give a presentation and show you how you can win new prospects and win new deals in the subscription world with Dynamics and Bluefort. If you're a customer and a user, like the other day speaking at the Doug event, users are like, tell your boss, right? Or reach out, or even go online. Mentioning SEER again, you can actually go online. If you're a user today using Dynamics or a partner, you can go online to the Bluefort website, and in there is the SEER part that applies to us, which they can fill in the questions of their environment, and it'll produce a proposal for you along with a gap fit. And it's like, yeah, here's your justification as to we should look at this, right? So customers, professional services organizations, MSP, you guys, I mean, I know a lot of them are now have moved from just consulting services to ISV solutions. And certainly you can find us that way on app stores, right? You can find us online at bluefort.eu. And you can find me, EJ Harof, on LinkedIn. And I'm sure many of us are connected. It's just a matter of education. For the consulting guys, for the Avanads and KPMGs, EY, all those guys, Centric, this is something that we provide on the website, lots of information to help with understanding the subscription industry. So that, back to my point about the evangelizing. So I think I covered all the guys, right? So customers, partners, services, consultants, and of course, media. If there's any media out there, be happy to give presentations and any whatever works. We're here to help and make this successful and make Dynamics successful. I mean, that's the bottom line. If they're happy, we're all happy. So
and that's music to my ears. I mean, not selfishly, being the Dynamics ISV leader here at Microsoft globally, that is exactly why we do these things, to showcase amazing ISVs doing this type of innovation. And because we're on LinkedIn, as EJ comment on it, feel free to make a connection with them, send them a LinkedIn message, and get the conversation started. And EJ talked about it. aka.ms/Bluefort provides visibility to all the solutions that Bluefort has listed in our Dynamics ecosystem on AppSource, and that's a good way to go do it. So EJ, thank you so much for the time. We truly appreciate the partnership, all the things you do, not just in the partnership, but in the community. You touched upon it. A lot of this is all about connecting with people, having conversations, building those engagements and relationships to whether it's now or maybe down the road, just creating those engagements and relationships is super important. So I truly appreciate everyone watching live or come across the replay. Again, we do these every Monday, 8 o'clock West Coast time, to highlight ISVs like Bluefort to talk about what they're doing in the ecosystem. And you can follow along with ISV Success Live at the hashtag, the YouTube channel where all these get produced or published after the fact, after they get wrap up, aka.ms/ISV Success Live. And again, everyone enjoy the start of the holiday season. I know it was Veterans Day over the weekend. It was Diwali. So all those types of things, we truly appreciate the diversity we have with people watching. EJ, thank you so much for the time, and I'll run the video again for people to watch it. So thanks again, everyone. Have a great week.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian, very much.
Thank you.